الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. Since the beginning of these series of talks on Tazkia, as a reminder, again, Surah Shura, which is number 26, ayat 88 and 89. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَوْمَ لَا تَنْفَعُ مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. And on that day, neither wealth or sons will avail. Only he who comes before Allah. Surah Shams, which is Surah 91, verse 8 and 9. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قَدْ أَفْلَهَا مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ. Those virtues and those traits and those acts, of purification that we should, instill in our hearts and act in our, or implement in our behavior. Honesty and truthful is to be a liar. Prophet ﷺ said, and this is the Bukhari and Muslim hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, truthfulness leads to righteousness, and righteousness leads to paradise. A man continues to be truthful until he is recorded with Allah as a truthful person. Lying, which is the opposite, leads to evil, and evil leads to the hellfire. And a man will continue to tell lies until he is recorded as a liar. So, alhamdulillah, being truthful and being honest is a very important law. And again, our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was the best example of a truthful person, alhamdulillah, an honest person. We know that, and he's well known for that. And that's why he was named, alhamdulillah, Sadiq, truthful, okay? So he was known by those titles, okay? The truthful one, the trustworthy one, because his honesty, alhamdulillah, And so we should, again, make it a point to make sure we, alhamdulillah, we be of the honest people, be honest and trustworthy, and truthful in our speech, promises, things that we promise people, because remember there's a hadith where the Prophet spoke about a hypocrite, right? And he said that 3 signs of a hypocrite: when he speaks, he lies. See, one of the things he lies. See, if he's given a trust, if he's entrusted with something, he violates that. You see. So again, we don't want to be like that. Okay, we want to be like the Prophet ﷺ, who was truthful, who was honest, and known for that. Alhamdulillah, to be honest, alhamdulillah. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us that. Moving on to the next trait, praiseworthy trait. And of course, we can say a whole lot about these, but we want to finish up and because time is short, so we want to finish or cover as much as we can. Hopefully we can finish today. If not, we'll have to finish one more time. The next important issue that deals with Tazkia is for ibadah. To love worshiping Allah. It's a hard thing. As we all know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجَنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. The whole purpose of the marriage, how we're to carry out that ibadah, how to worship Allah in the best way. You see, so everything is already laid out for us in the Quran, and in his worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he always worshiped Allah with fervor and zeal, love in his heart of the ibadah. You see, and so we have to ask ourselves, do I love worshiping Allah? Think about it as a character trait, and something that I apply in my life. How is my worship? Do I get excited when it's time to make prayer, or do I feel So how we respond to the worship shows again what's in our heart. Whether it's the salah, whether it's fast and charity, any act of worship, reading Quran. How do we feel? You see, do we feel the love of the worship? Our hearts. To do it, the way the Prophet ﷺ did. Okay, and the way he instructed us to do it. being attentive to it when we make salat. Do we have the right attitude about the worship? See, all of that is important. See, worshiping Allah, having it in the heart. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, like prayer, for instance. He said, prayer is the coolness of my eyes. So it's the prayer. How do you feel about your prayer? You see? Okay? Is it the coolness of your eye? Because remember, you're doing it, brothers and sisters, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See? This is what we owe to Allah. See, this is what our purpose is. And ain't nothing like, again, alhamdulillah, doing it with enthusiasm and in love, love doing it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, alhamdulillah. Prophet told us to do. It's a very beautiful hadith, right, in reference to an act of worship that we take, many of us take lightly. All right? And it's a very serious act of worship. Right? And this act of worship is the prelude to the salat itself, the wudu. The Prophet ﷺ said, the Sahih Muslim hadith, he says, when one makes a wudu, the sins fall off from him from every part that is washed. So that's something just to reflect upon, the act of making wudu. It's an act of worship. It's an act of worship. It's not, I'm just washing. It's an act of worship. And so you get rewarded for the act of worship in preparation for prayer. So next time you make wudu, just think about it. See? So every part of the body that you wash, you see, again, sins fall off. See? And then when he stands for the salah and thanks and praises Allah and glorify him as Allah deserves, and he dedicates his heart, he's in it now, see? He dedicates his heart for sure. And that's where the focus comes in the ibadah, you see? If it's in the heart, you see, it's going to be strong, it's going to be connected, you see? All right? So his heart is sin-free as the day he was born. So next time you make wudu, keep that in mind. In the wudu, wow. Many of us don't do that. So when you wash your hand, wow, the sins are coming off. SubhanAllah. You wash your face, you gargle your mouth, the sins coming off. SubhanAllah. All right. Another beautiful narration as it relates to wudu, as it relates to purification through worship, right? The Prophet ﷺ said, this is well known, water outside your house and you bathe in it 5 times a day. Would there be any dirt on you? And the companion said, no. He said, your prayer is like that. Your prayer wash away your sin. You see? Your prayer, if you're sincere, it's in your heart. You're doing it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See? You recognize its worth and its value by doing it the way you're supposed to do it. SubhanAllah. And you do it with the intent behind it to purify yourself. You see? It's like cleaning the sins off. Itself is a very excellent Tazkia, if you will. All right? Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and surely prayer keeps one away from shameful and indecent deeds. Mm-hmm. You see, so when we concentrate on prayer and we allow the prayer to impact our lives and our behavior and our attitudes, the right way, alhamdulillah, that's purification. But if we're just doing the prayer like, in a ritualistic way, just being mechanical, you see, and not having our hearts in it, not concentrating, you see, okay, then it won't have the effect. It won't have the desired goal, which is, again, purification, okay? So, again, having the ibadah in the heart, loving the ibadah, okay? And, of course, the next quality or trait, of course, and this is what it all comes down to. It all comes down to akhlaq of the heart has to impact how we act and how we behave. Again, go back to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ says, in the chest there's a piece of wreck. The rest of the limbs, the actions are correct. And if it is corrupt, then the rest of the body is corrupt. You see? So the righteous predecessors, they used to say, the heart is the organs of the soldiers. They just carry out what the heart say. You see what I'm saying? So it's in the heart, you see? So if one is honest, alhamdulillah, then his conduct going to be reflected in honesty and trustworthiness. You see, it's like that. And how you treat people. You see? If in the heart, if one has good character, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, it's going to manifest itself in the way he behaves, okay? So here's a beautiful narration, what the Prophet ﷺ said concerning akhlaq, right? And this hadith is collected by Imam Abu Dawood and Al-Albani, rahimahullah, alhamdulillah, this is a good hadith, right? He ascended the minbar and he said, "O you," he's addressing the people, "O you who have accepted Islam with your tongues, but Iman is not in your hearts." There you go, back to the heart. Back to the heart. You see? Okay? You've accepted Islam. I'm a Muslim. All right? You're making the prayer and all of that. You're doing all the outward things that, that visibly manifest that you are a Muslim. Well, are you really a Muslim? So it's more to be a Muslim than saying you're a Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ says, so Iman is not in your heart. Then he says, do not harm Muslims. See? Do not shame them. See? The Prophet ﷺ talking about what? Character. Character. That's really being a Muslim. That's the completion of being a Muslim. It starts with La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, and carrying out the acts of worship. SubhanAllah. That's where it starts. It's how you behave, you see? So the Prophet ﷺ said, you know what I'm saying? Do not harm Muslim with your hand, with your tongue. You see? It's what? Safe. Talking about character now. You see what I'm saying? All right. So the Prophet ﷺ, in this narration here, he's reminding the people that again it's about character. And the one that follows the faults of people, trying to find out what his fault is, trying to find out what her fault is. You see? Always worried about everybody else instead of worried about your own self. You see? So the Prophet said, he who traces the faults of others, the Prophet said, do not trace the faults of others. In other words, don't do that. That's not the character of a Muslim. And the one that does that, Allah will trace and expose his faults, even if he's concealed in his home. You see? So if you be tracing the faults of others and looking for their faults, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will expose your faults. Okay? So again, this is not the character. So this is a very beautiful hadith that the Prophet ﷺ left us and went very, again, rich in meaning and guidance and direction in terms of how we should not act, okay? Alhamdulillah. And this will be 12. Sabr, patience. Okay? Patience. To have patience. Very important kind of quality or trait that we should have. Because Allah subhanahu said most men are not patient. Not mentioned in the Quran. But yet patience is mentioned over 90 times in the Quran. 90 times. So anytime something is mentioned a lot, our scholars tell us, that means it's important. So yuhibbu sabirin. Allah loves those who are patient. Think about it. See? Inna Allaha ma'as sabirin. And Allah is with those who are patient. So Allah loves those who are patient. Allah is with those who are patient. You see what I'm saying? All right? So patience is very, very important when it comes to the character. So also we learn, that, the success comes, with those who have patience, man. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. To be patient. Especially during adversity, you see. And the Prophet ﷺ said, and victory comes with patience. So if you want to win the battle, you got to have patience. You see what I'm saying? Okay? All right? And of course, all right? And the 3 levels of patience, we're supposed to be patient. We should be patient in obedience to Allah by obeying the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Carrying out the second level, of course, is being patient, when in not being disobedient, disobeying, patient in disobeying. You see, again, you don't want to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so you be patient when you're tempted to do wrong and evil. You see, that's another level. You're tempted to disobey Allah. Patient. See? And the 3rd level of patience, of course, is the patience during calamities. And 3 levels of patience, that the scholars mentioned to us that help us to understand this broad issue of having patience. Patience. Okay. We might can wrap this up today. Alhamdulillah. So we've covered character traits, and so alhamdulillah, we'll move on to the last phase of what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to finish up this series of talks on Tazkia. All right, and this is some advice that the scholars, different scholars, have recommended in their books and their treatises, in terms of things that you can do. Okay, some of these things we've already covered, so I won't elaborate. And then some, alhamdulillah, we'll talk a little about them, given the time we have, inshallah. Okay, first of all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhan nasu qad ja'u min rabbikum wa shifa'un liman fis suduri wa hudan wa rahmatul lil mu'minin. Come to you a good advice from your Lord and a healing for that which is within your breast, a guidance and a mercy for the believers. Okay. So the first thing, again, that we should do, remember that the greatest, it's a healing. It's a healing what is in your heart, in your breast. See? And that ayat is very, very key, and it points out. Ibn Qayyim, one of the great scholars, he said, the Quran is the complete healing from every sickness of the heart. Okay? And the various diseases of the dunya and in the hereafter. Okay? That's Ibn Qayyim. I mean, we start with the Quran. The ulama say, the Quran, to connect with the Quran, to be connected with the Quran. No, that is the best purification. Why? Because why? Think about it. Because you're constantly being reminded of Allah. The Quran is Allah's book. That is the purification itself. You're reading about Allah. You're connecting with Allah. You're knowing about Allah. You're reading about His names and His attributes. You're reading all of the various stories and the different, things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning, man, alhamdulillah, to keep you connected, man, and keep you in a constant state of remembrance, man. You see? The more you remember Allah, the more you purify the heart. So we have to connect with the Quran, okay? All right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابَ تِلَوَاتِهِ أُولَٰئِكَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِهِ. And those who we give the book, they recite it as it should be recited. They are the ones that believe therein. Surah 2, verse 121. The key word here is tilawati. So the companions of the Prophet ﷺ and the Tabi'een and the early Muslims, they said that this word tilawat, read or recite the book as it should be recited. All right? Tilawat. Recite it, number one. To memorize it, my son, okay? To understand it and to act upon it. 5 things. See, when you do those 5 things, then that means you have the tilawatihi. You have recited the book as you're supposed to recite it. You recited the book with, based upon what it is due for, you see. Just to recite it, You see what I'm saying? You have to recite, you have to memorize it, you see. You have to, and of course all of us, we memorize some Quran, alhamdulillah, okay. Because again, he who does not, have any of the Quran in him, the Prophet ﷺ, said, that he's not of us. Alhamdulillah. So we memorize, and of course we have to memorize so we can make our salah. So no doubt, all right. But the more we memorize, the better, and we should continue to try to memorize as much Quran as we can, because again, on the Qiyamah, one status is based upon the Quran that they can read, the Quran that they know. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Okay. To understand the Quran, Allah wants you to understand the book, so your faith can grow. You see, Allah wants you to contemplate, to think about things. When you come to certain ayat, certain verses in the Quran, wow. That's powerful. Allah wants you to reflect, on the cosmos, if you will. You read, because Allah, all these phenomena, the birds, the bees, the animals, the mountains, and how Allah created all of this. He wants you to contemplate these things, you see. And when Allah talks about the hellfire, He wants you to, seek refuge in Allah from the hellfire. Ooh, subhanAllah. I don't want to go there. Allah talks about the hellfire. Wow, you feel excited. So again, to contemplate these things, subhanAllah. All of these, these acts, that's mentioned, it increases the iman. It increases your closeness and your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's all a part of the etiquette, in the adab of reading or reciting the Quran, alhamdulillah. So to contemplate it. And of course, finally, to act upon it. The Quran is a book of what? Guidance. So we have to live it, all right, and put it into practice. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So the next thing, of course, we talked about already. We talked about Tawheed, the importance of, believing in Allah, having a strong connection with Allah, and a belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, believing His names in the last session. Also, we talked about the importance of believing and loving the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, alhamdulillah, okay, as a means of tazkiyah, because he's example. Then again, the ulama, they recommend that we make lots of dua, as a purification. Dua, dua is supplication. You know what I'm saying? Because why is dua so important? No one can purify you but Allah. That's why. Allah says, وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمْ مُدْعُوا, and say, call upon your Lord. Call upon your Lord. Those who call upon me, I will answer, their prayers. You see? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to call upon Him, you see? And that's part of the worship that we owe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to call upon Him, you see? And we should call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the du'as, and the best du'as and the best supplications, to call upon Allah with is the ones that He has revealed to us in the Quran and the Sunnah. Think about it. All the du'as you can make, it can't match the du'as that Allah gives you. SubhanAllah, they're so comprehensive, and there's so many. You take the du'a, all comprehensive du'as that the Prophet used to love to recite, which most Muslims know. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adhaban nar. You think about it, that covers everything. That covers all of the good, all of the good that you can think of that you want is in that du'a. He ain't said nothing else. You see what I'm saying? And ultimately, the ultimate good is the paradise. You see what I'm saying? What's that dua? And I think most Muslims know, and those who don't, they should learn it. Alhamdulillah, all right? But there are many du'as like that. Alhamdulillah, okay? And we're coming at Maghrib, the last 10 days of Ramadan. You're going to be here, you see? And so there's a very strong dua that we're supposed to make. You know what I'm saying? Seeking the Ramadan every night. We should be making this dua. Allahumma innaka afuwan tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Allahumma innaka afuwan tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Allahumma innaka afuwan tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Oh Allah, you are the forgiver, you love. All right. Aisha asked the Prophet, what should I say? That's the dua. So get ready for the next 9 or 10 days, alhamdulillah, then. To make the dua, stand up at night, making that particular dua as well as others, alhamdulillah. Dua, another jewel from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. This hadith collected by Imam Tirmidhi and Ibn Majah and Imam Al-Albani. Somebody recently sent it to me too. SubhanAllah, may Allah bless him. I said, Allahuakbar. I'll share this with the brothers. SubhanAllah. The Prophet ﷺ said, he said, when you make dua, the Prophet ﷺ, ask Allah to give you paradise. Allahumma inni as'aluka jannah. Allahumma inni. Oh Allah, give me paradise. And the Prophet ﷺ said, when you say it 3 times, and when you say it 3 times, the paradise say, oh Allah, the paradise makes dua for you. Oh Allah, give her paradise. See? Allahumma inni as'aluka jannah. See? Oh Allah, give me paradise. And you say it 3 times, the paradise, you're not only asking Allah, but the paradise is also asking Allah to give you. And also when you say 3 times, Allahumma ajirni minan nar. Many Muslims know this dua. Allahumma ajirni minan nar. Allahumma ajirni minan nar. Oh Allah, protect me from the hellfire. He says that 3 times. Then the hellfire makes dua. Oh Allah, protect him from the hellfire. SubhanAllah, this is a very powerful dua, alhamdulillah. So I want to leave y'all with that, alhamdulillah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, alhamdulillah, answer all of our du'as, alhamdulillah, okay. Another recommendation for fasting. Ramadan will be over soon, and so what we going to do? The 3 days every month, 13, 14, 15, or every Monday and Thursday. These are days that the Prophet ﷺ fasted, and again, so it's a constant way of purifying yourself. The Prophet ﷺ said when we fast 3 days a month, it removes the contaminations from the heart. So fasting, we need to, get in the habit of as a means of purification, you see. And the Prophet, like one man asked the Prophet for some advice, and the Prophet ﷺ told him, to fast, for there's nothing better than that. There's nothing equivalent to it as an act of worship, all right? Because again, it works on the heart. Remember, fasting is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you see? So alhamdulillah. So fasting, we have to put ourselves of fasting more. And it should be easy, especially after leaving Ramadan. After fasting the month of Ramadan, it should be easy for us to fast because we done got used to it. And we should continue. And we make do it to keep us strong and to allow us to continue to fast. Alhamdulillah for His pleasure. Inshallah. All right? Just make that resolve. Oh Allah, let me continue to fast. Okay? Another thing that the scholars recommended that we visit the graves. Tazkia. Visit the graves. You see? To be reminded of death and dying. Get your mind away from the doers. What is that, old messenger of Allah? Death. Death, dying. Thinking about death. That's something people don't normally do. You see? But it's supposed to be a practice of the Muslim. This is a practice that we're supposed to do. All right? And I would take it even a step even beyond. All right? I would even say, look, where there's a janazah, go visit, the funeral homes, the Muslim funeral homes when they're washing the dead. Witness it, and sisters witness it, just to go see it. Some people have never saw it. One thing to go to a grave, right, and make the dua, but to go to a funeral home while they're preparing it, while they're washing your dead brother, and they're wrapping him, and you seeing him, and you once used to be with him, he used to pray with you, or whatever, you see, or it could be your father, your brother, you know what I'm saying, and you, or your sister, and you're there looking at them, and subhanAllah, and washing them, participating in that. That's something for the heart. That's another level of it. So people, we got to try it. We got to try these things, all right? Things and whatnot. Okay? Alhamdulillah. So we should, again, look at that, to visit the funeral homes and participate, or even if you don't participate washing, just watching it. Just watching it. Alhamdulillah. It's good for the heart. Alhamdulillah. Because it makes one think about the hereafter, death and dying. Okay? And so, alhamdulillah, Tazkia is avoid the haram. Avoid, that's part of purification too. Avoiding the haram thing, because sometimes we think, oh, I'm praying, I'm fasting, I'm doing all these other good things, but I'm still doing, haram stuff, participating in haram activity and stuff. It don't work that way, man. There's no purification if you ain't giving up haram, man. Everything that Allah say don't do, you doing. No, haram, but even the doubtful things, you see. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, what is haram is clear, what is halal is clear, what is haram is clear. Between the two, there's some doubtful issues. Some gray areas. Right? The doubtful. You see, he who avoids the doubtful protects his religion. So you can try it if you want to. You can take a chance if you want to, but it's better to be cautious. You see, avoid the doubtful. Then you ain't got to worry about it. Later on, you learn, oh, what I did was haram. You see, it wasn't clear. You see, but if you doubt, leave it alone. So in that is a protection. Again, be mindful of the things we do from day to day. All right? Stay away from the haram. That's part of it too. You see, and of course we talked earlier about patience. You see, patience when you're tempted by haram. It takes patience. It takes patience. It really does. You see, and that's what we have to do. All right, and so avoid the haram. Every time you commit a haram act, a sin, right? What happened? A black spot lodges on the heart. You see. And if you repent, then you polish it. You stop, you give it up. But if you repeat it and go back to it again and again, black will continue to appear, and it will pile up to the heart, becomes dark. Happens. So the haram, you got to leave the haram things alone, inshallah. Okay? Alhamdulillah. Showing mercy. Remember the man came, we mentioned the hadith early on, the man came, Ya Rasulullah, my heart is hard. that I deal with it hard. You remember we said, and the Prophet ﷺ told a man, you know, he said, show compassion to an orphan by rubbing his head. Rubbing an orphan's head. And then to poor people. See? So that's a way, it's a practical way of purifying the heart. That's a practical way, you see what I'm saying, you know, again, of getting close to Allah, you know, being compassionate to the youth. That's essentially what they're saying, being compassionate to young people, being compassionate to people, you know. And we mentioned this in the last session about, you know, those who don't show mercy will not receive any mercy. And show mercy to the creatures of Allah on the earth, so that He who is above the heavens will show mercy to you. We're supposed to be merciful people. You know, remember the story about the man who saw the, you know, he went to the well and he got some water, and he came up and he saw this pan. He went back in the well and gave the water and came up with some water for the dog. You know, an act of mercy to an animal. You see. And he was forgiven and given paradise. Another narration mentioned a woman. You see, two different hadiths, but the same idea. You know, they were sincere. They had compassion. You see, so merciful, show mercy, showing mercy, acts of mercy, acts of charity, acts of giving, act of kindness, act of generosity. All of that, you know, are offshoots of mercy. You see what I'm saying? Okay. And so again, this is a way of, you know, purifying the heart and being like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We have not sent thee but as a mercy to mankind. So the Prophet ﷺ was to study his character. You see that, alhamdulillah. And so this is what we should do, alhamdulillah. And finally, alhamdulillah, even like after Ramadan, and of course when the masjids open up, inshallah. I mean, you know, people should try doing itikaf in the masjid. People forget that sunnah, you know, the Prophet. You know, we think itikaf is only for Ramadan. What you doing? And so, you know, on one of those fasting days, I'm gonna spend the whole day in the mosque. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna isolate myself from the dunya and everybody, and to do even a half a day. I'm gonna do a half a day in the mosque. And you know what I'm saying? Read Quran and just remember Allah and contemplate and reflect, and you know, alhamdulillah. You see. You got to push yourself to do these things. You know, it takes discipline, you know, to adopt that as a program. The Prophet did that. Every now and then he would go to the mosque and do itikaf. You know, some of the companions used to go in the mosque and leave the jobs and just get away from everything. From Dhuhr, let's say from Dhuhr to Isha, okay, or from Dhuhr to Maghrib, just to sit in the mosque and read the Quran and just reflect. And finally, you know, evaluate yourself, brothers and sisters. Evaluate yourself. Check your and adorning the heart with goodness, and so they can so it will have an impact on your character and how you behave and how you treat people. Alhamdulillah, subhanallah. You know, it's a journey. You know what I'm saying? And so it's something you got to always, you know, look at. You got to always be examining your heart, always evaluating yourself. You know, never feel safe. Never feel that what you're doing, you know, you're safe. You know, we spoke earlier about, you know, self-amazement. That person, he's amazed with all of the good that he does. You see what I'm saying? Worry about whether Allah accepting your deeds, or worry about whether your deeds is correct. You know. I made hard, you know, a dozen times. It don't matter how you know Allah accepted any of those hajjs. You see, that's why we used to have an attitude back in the day. I'll keep on making it until maybe another. You see, and the reason most people do it, of course, you know, and I'm certain that they're doing it because again they're trying to perfect it. Each time they try to do it better. You see what I'm saying? Because again, perhaps they wasn't satisfied with the last one. I feel I didn't do it right. I feel I messed up. You see what I'm saying? And that's a good feeling. Because we should never feel, you know, even though you're only required to do it once, about it. Okay, Allah, inshallah, will accept it. You see? But again, back to my point, we got to work on ourselves, man. All right, and evaluate ourselves. Be like Umar, you know, and the companions. You know, they always worried about them. They always were checking themselves, man. They never felt that they had it made and whatnot. You see? Like, what was that? One of the companions, Hanzalah's become a hypocrite. Hanzalah's become a hypocrite. Abu Bakr said, yo, what you saying, man? Hypocrite's going to be in the lowest part of the fire. Why you saying something? Don't be saying that. He said, well, look, man, when I'm with the messenger of Allah, I feel good. I feel like I'm in paradise. Business, I lose it. I can't focus the same way. And Abu Bakr said, wow, me too. See? He was going through the same thing. I told the Prophet what they were going through, and the Prophet said, and he said, SubhanAllah, there's a time for this, time for that. You see, if you was always in that pure state of remembrance of Allah, feeling, you know what I'm saying, and greet you in the streets, in your homes, on your beds. You see what I'm saying? All right. So there's a time for that. So that's normal to go through what you're going through. There'll be periods of, all right. But they were concerned. That's the point. They were concerned. Wow. You see, Umar, used to go to Hudayfa, and so Hudayfa was the companion that the Prophet told him who all the hypocrites was. So Umar, even though the Prophet had already told Umar he was going to paradise, he already told Umar, your faith is so big, man, that you walking on one road, Shaitan walking on the same road, he going to get out the way. But in spite of that, all those good things and noble things that the Prophet said to him or about him, Umar was still always worried. You see, he would go to Hudayfa after the Prophet passed away. See, yo, man, do you see any hypocrisy in me? Am I one of the hypocrites? He was scared. You see what I'm saying? Okay, he was scared. All right, of course, Hudayfa said no. So many of the companions did that. I'm just highlighting Umar to show you again. You have to evaluate yourself. That's how the companions did. You see what I'm saying? And Umar, he said that. Also, in another statement, he said, take yourself to account. He said, take yourself to account before the day of accounting. Evaluate yourself now. Don't wait till the day of judgment and you decide, okay. You see? All right? So don't wait till the day of judgment to check yourself, to evaluate yourself, to see how your salah is, how your worship is, you know what I'm saying, how your character is, what's going on inside, you see what I'm saying? Clean yourself up. Good people in the audience who are watching this video, may Allah let you get benefit from this, alhamdulillah. The whole subject of Tazkia, purification of the heart, pure exhausted. There was so much stuff that I had prepared, but I said, no, let me just run through a few things just to, to whet your appetite. You know what I'm saying? So you'll be inspired to learn more and read more. Diseases are there. Don't even never think you ain't got none. We all got disease, everybody. And maybe the one you may think that may be in your fellow Muslim or your fellow Muslim, you looking at him or looking at her that they got this problem. It may manifest it, you see? And that's why it's important that we always look at ourselves and purify ourselves and check ourselves and don't worry about the faults and the diseases in other people, because everybody got some disease, you see, that they got to work on and deal with to purify themselves so they can reach that state of Qalbun Salim, and that state of Ihsan and that state of proximity and closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, accept all of your good deeds in the month of Ramadan. أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله لي ولكم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم.